Wow, this is hitting me really hard. Like, I do not feel great. So hungry, so low energy. Only a little over an hour left. I cannot wait to eat. There's like a...
In the evening, I went to the local mosque, the first time I'd ever stepped foot in a mosque. I broke my fast with hundreds of other men and had the chance to speak with the imam. I asked him a couple of questions about Islam, and I was immediately seeing all of these parallels. There are some really powerful spiritual teachings here that are universal.
Bismillah.
Okay, first, what am I doing exactly? Ramadan is celebrated by over 1 billion Muslims each year. It marks the 9th and holiest month of the Islamic calendar. To partake in these celebrations, for 30 days, as long as the sun is up, you're abstaining from eating, drinking, and a whole host of other activities. So I'm going to be fasting from around 6 a.m. to around 9 p.m. each day, with each day getting longer. Now, why am I doing this? I'm not Muslim and I didn't grow up surrounded by Muslims. I spent the first 16 years of my life in the United States, where the image of Islam that is shown in mainstream media is really quite poor. And then, when I was 17 years old and doing an exchange in France, I lived with a Muslim family. I had an amazing time living with them, and we've stayed in touch. It's actually been 7 years since my exchange. They're honestly one of the major reasons why I fell in love with France and have decided to make it my home. And it was through this experience that I began to see this gigantic gap between what we see on like the news and whatnot and the reality, like what I was experiencing. I feel like I have an opportunity here to do something about that by sharing my own experience. And so my host family has very kindly welcomed me to spend a week of Ramadan with them, to fast together. I have chosen to do this experiment to learn more about a culture that I barely knew anything about.
I've never done anything like this before.
And let me tell you, despite all of the challenges, this has been an eye-opening experience that I do not regret. Here's what happened. The first pre-fast meal before sunrise is called sehri. To think that this would be my new rhythm was hard for me to wrap my brain around. But there was something really motivating to me about the fact that we were all in this together.
Okay, I can't eat or drink anymore. 6:06. I am feeling the tiredness. So I'm probably gonna lie down for a little bit. All right, it is time for the second prayer of the day.
Now, Muslims pray 5 times a day at specific times. These prayers are done in very specific ways, following a series of specific steps. What I'm going to do is, at the times of the prayers, I'm going to just pause my day and reflect and meditate a little bit.
I've been fasting for roughly 9 hours. And for the last hour or so, I've started to hear my stomach grumbling. I'm starting to really struggle with this. My mouth is watering constantly. I just feel tired and low energy.
My host mom took me to deliver sugar and food as gifts to her friends. This is common practice and reminded me that a big part of Ramadan is to do something bigger than yourself. They asked me what I had learned on my first day of Ramadan.
Et aussi, je crois que Ramadan, de manière générale, c'est basé sur le partage, quoi.
Oui, c'est ça. C'est ça.
Non?
Ouais, c'est le partage, c'est s'aimer, c'est l'amour, beaucoup d'amour. C'est important, c'est très important pour nous.
Is this really the religion that so many non-Muslims fear?
Only a little over an hour left. I cannot wait to eat. There's like a feeling of excitement that is palpable. Yeah! Bismillah.
It was on the 4th day that things began to click.
All right, this morning I'm trying something a little different. I'm not going back to bed. I'm speaking too loudly. Whoops. I have like 5 more minutes. I'm drinking as much water as possible. It's going in for my last bites for the day. Until this evening, of course. I'm so full. That's it. Done until tonight.
In the evening, I went to the local mosque, the first time I'd ever stepped foot in a mosque. I broke my fast with hundreds of other men and had the chance to speak with the imam. I asked him a couple of questions about Islam, and I was immediately seeing all of these parallels between other schools of thought and philosophies. There's an emphasis in Islam on detaching from the material world, which is a very common central theme in Buddhism. On some level, there are some really powerful spiritual teachings here that are universal. So this meal marks an entire week doing this. I can't believe it. Bismillah, it's going to happen. Not once did I eat alone during my entire week fasting for Ramadan, which is something that really stuck out to me. It really made this week special. If you're a Muslim and do Ramadan each year, especially for the full 30 days, you have my full respect. The Quran encourages people to share their wealth and income with those in greater need, with lesser means. This is actually one of the 5 pillars of Islam, a fundamental practice within the faith. This is called zakat. You donate 1/40th of your net wealth each year. And you know what? Honestly, this entire experiment was a gigantic reminder of the many privileges that I enjoy.